What's up, beautiful people? If you can hear the sound of my voice, that means you are tuned in to another episode of the Casual Friday Live podcast on the Knicks Film School YouTube channel. I am Jeff J. Where in the hell is this banner? I definitely ran the banner. Andrew, I ran the banner, bro. But Shawn is my witness. I ran it before we went live. This must be another technical difficulty because they wanted to cast aspersions on my production skills. I'm Jeff J. That is Shawn. That is Shawn with a W. And you are amazing. Chat, what is going on? It's time to talk Knicks. The week that was. The week that is to be. And Shawn, I can tell you right now, man. April 19th and or April 20th cannot get here soon enough. Because we were talking beforehand, dog, enough is enough, man. Enough is enough with these takes, with everything. Well, first off, how are you feeling? What about you? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Apparently my camera doesn't feel good because it's trying like this. I got like a lighting situation. Oh, see, there we go. Oh, there we go. All right.
Yeah, it picked up. It finally
picked up. It came off of lunch. I am fine. I am unbothered. I am unmoved. I cannot say the same for many people in the fan base, but I am fine.
I'm doing well too, man. I'm doing well. And contrary to popular belief, I think the New York Knicks are doing well as well. There's been a lot of chatter about where this team is heading, the run that they've been on. If I'm not mistaken, what is this, 2 in a row, 3 in a row that they've lost? Shawn, you're on mute.
2 in a row.
2 in a row, right?
Yeah, they lost to Boston, they lost to Detroit.
For sure. They beat the Suns, then they lost to the Celtics, then they lost to Detroit. Yes. And what exasperated things a little bit further was the fact that the Fighting Cavaliers could not pull out a victory in the final seconds against the Indiana Pacers. So the Pacers clinch home court, at least in the first round of the playoffs, with still this outside chance to win the 3 seed or to claim the 3 seed if they win out and the Knicks lose out. Shout out to Johnny Bryant, who I had some unpleasant things in jest to say about because I didn't know where the immortal Ty Jerome was on that final play. It was Ty Jerome time, and Ty Jerome was no longer in the building, bro. But it is what it is. You control your own destiny. That means you have to rely on yourself, not on other people, to like backdoor into seeding scenarios. But now we're here, man. And especially after that game last night against the Pistons, I don't know. You tell me, Shawn, am I wilding? Am I off base here and thinking that, to put it mildly, there's been too many overreactions to their form last night?
Wise man. Well, I don't know if wise is the word I want to use. A wise man once said, an athlete, and a quarterback, and he did a radio show. And his team had gotten off to like a bit of a shaky start. And, a lot of people in the fan base were like, oh my God, what are we going to do it? This is ridiculous, whatever. And the dude went on the radio and he said, RELAX, relax. I texted you and Andrew last night. I said, if we do Casual Friday, that needs to be the title of this show because, look, I understand fans stand for fanatic. I understand that. Well, people say like, you can't tell someone how to fan. I'm like, well, if you're fanning stupid, I will tell you you're being stupid. If you're being overreactive, if you're being ridiculously emotional, if you're acting to the extreme, I mean, you could do that. I just won't engage with you if you do that on a consistent basis. But What do I say all the time, Jeff? Happiness equals reality minus expectations. So if you went to last night's game thinking we should beat the Detroit Pistons no matter what, and we lose, you are going to, as the kids say, crash out. Like, and here's the thing. You can't be talking about, oh, I'm scared of the Pistons. The Pistons may do this. The Pistons may do that. Whatever, right? Like, if you're concerned about the Pistons, why does it bother you that the Pistons beat a Knicks team missing their best defender, their do-everything glue guy, the dude that off the bench that we all said, wait till he comes back, we're good, and a Knicks team that played Precious Achiuwa and PJ Tucker 67 minutes combined in a game in the year of our Lord 2025. Like, you can't have it both ways. Like, the rational response would be like, I didn't like to lose the game, but I understand. See, you know what, Jeff, I forgot. I'm using nuance and context, which does not exist on Rihanna's internet anymore. So why would that matter? I'm sorry, I'm making too much sense. But to me, like, some of the tweets I've been reading, it's like, but they go. It's look. Listen, all I'm going to say is this. I realize that some people need their team to win because they're not good at making jokes. And some people need their team to win because they do not know how to shoot back when people shoot at them. Or they need the validation of ESPN or TNT because they're so used to seeing people on those networks big up other teams. I understand that. That's not me, but I understand that. But if you take a step back, just take a step back and say, like, all right, this is the same. Like, that Pistons team played a Knicks team. Again, the guy that's going to be guarding Cade Cunningham didn't play last night. Asar Thompson is going to get the Isaac Okoro Memorial Award for we're leaving you wide ass open in the corner because you, sir, shoot 23% from three. See, that's the thing. We are so focused on our team's flaws, and don't get me wrong, this team has flaws. If you listen to this show, Jeff and I have broken down those flaws multiple times. Guess what? So does the other team. Malik Beasley, guess what? Malik Beasley is one thing to show up to Madison Square Garden in one day and hit 7 threes, whatever. It's another thing where we realize, oh, you can't guard a lick. So we're going to put you and Picker in the action again. And guess what? We're going to do that in game 2, and we're going to do that in game 3, and we're going to do that in game 4, and we're going to do that in game 5. And for some of you people who are pissing your pants, we'll do it in game 6 and 7, since apparently this series is going 7. Like, just relax, take a step back, chill, drink a glass of water, light a spliff, be easy, man. Like, come on, pour yourself a beverage, alcoholic, non-alcoholic, man. Dude, let's chill out. That sigh was everything.
Yeah. Yes, I agree with you. Just to let you know, that sigh isn't directly you. That sigh
I know exactly what the sigh is.
Okay. Stanley Mann in our chat right now exemplifies the type of shit that we've seen on the timeline. Let's pull it up. The Knicks are a soft team, and now that JB rolled his ankle again, we are likely to lose in the first round of the playoffs. We had the chance to secure the 3rd seed, but instead we screwed around. Okay. They have 2 more chances to secure the 3rd seed. The 3rd seed has not been lost. Second, if you are of the impression that you don't think that the Knicks could beat the Celtics, why would losing the 3rd seed be the worst thing in the world? Third, JB did not roll his right ankle. He tripped up on his left one. The right one was not the one that was rolled up on. And maybe I've got that wrong. I didn't think. No, I was right because I saw
you were right.
Friend of the show, Tommy Beer, say that Brunson and Cat are on the injury report. Brunson's on the injury report with the right ankle. He said the same one that he sprained in Detroit. So I asked him for clarification, and he came out. It was the left ankle. And to call it a sprain or a roll is doing a lot of heavy lifting. You're doing bartender dudes in Brooklyn that are doing the push-ups and the pull-ups in the park, amounts of heavy lifting right now. This is the type of crashing out that I'm talking about, Shawn. Back with the Daily Double. It's not just we lost to the Pistons. The Pistons punched us in the mouth, and the Knicks didn't respond. Instead, we lied down and got our butts kicked. The Pistons turned up the intensity in that second quarter, third quarter. And you know what happened? Jalen Brunson laughed and came back down and started dotting I's with jumpers. The minute Cade knocked JB to the floor, the immortal enforcer, the sneaker god, who everybody all of a sudden thinks is Rick Mahorn, but knows that he doesn't take no shit. What did he do? He fouled Duren or somebody going up for a shot.
No, it was Schroeder. It was Schroeder.
No, it was before that he had fouled somebody else. And then in the corner, he knocks over Schroeder, stares him down to the point where, and sister, I apologize, I don't remember your name. The female ref had to go up to PJ, got in between PJ and Schroeder. She felt compelled to get in the mix and tell him, yo, go walk. Because she already saw the vibes. And, shout out to Benji. I saw that in his grade book. He said that the Knicks got punked. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. If they turned up the intensity and the Knicks didn't respond in kind with the matching the energy, then I would say they got punked. They turned it up. That was their bowl game, as Shawn with a W would say. That was their bowl game. The fans were turned up. The players were turned up. A message needed to be sent. They didn't care if it was me and Shawn starting. A message needed to be sent, and they sent a message. You know what their message was? We ain't no hoes. And this ain't going to be easy. If you see us, you're going to get the full experience. And that's cool. And you know what the Knicks said in response? We'll see you if we see you. And I'm glad PJ Tucker was in that game because he proves my theory that if he was in the game or if he was around when Dice Roll Gate happened, maybe there is a message sent. So we do have message senders on this team now, which is awesome. Secondly, I refuse to crash out about a game where I saw a lineup of PJ Tucker, Precious Achiuwa, DeLon Wright, Cam Payne, and Landry Shamet occupy significant floor time. And mind you, didn't really let go of the rope. Precious Achiuwa looked like Giannis, a different Nigerian. He channeled a different Nigerian against the Pistons last night. And you want me to be crashing out and be worried? Sure, I would have loved them to show that they could have 3 starters down and still be able to beat this team. And you know what? They almost did, playing a horrible game, especially in that fourth. They almost did. If Landry Shamet doesn't sit after taking this game personally, like his job was on the line, after Malik Beasley said he was too small and he proceeded to knock down 2 threes and draw a charge before getting the yank, he was going to be the one that carried the team to victory. And that's not hyperbole. He was the one that said, oh, we match in energy. We ain't no hoes either.
And hoes is a non-gender specific term for the record. Continue.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Non-binary, non-gendered.
Yes.
Yes. It's universal. As the great poet Christopher Bridges once said, some of these guys are hoes too. So it is universal, right? We ain't no punks. We ain't no pushovers. We can match the energy, but you're not getting our full. JB took that little stumble. He wasn't going all that hard to the paint anymore. Cat, I don't know what happened to Cat in that fourth quarter. It's been rare that we've seen Space Cadet Cat. That man, it was like he was playing 2K. It was like, yo, why are my buttons not working? Why are my buttons not working? He had an all-time crash out. He crashed out. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not going to get worried. I know what this team is. I know who they are. I know what we saw last night. If you came into that game knowing 3 starters are down, especially if you're saying, I don't care if 3 starters were down, this just shows that they're going to lose in the first round, then you have no sense of reality, of any concept of what is actually going on. You don't. You don't. You are just trying to be mad to be mad. And I think, Shawn, we need to call it out, man. There's a lot of grifting going on with this fan base. A lot more than usual.
Yes.
A lot more than usual. There is a lot of grifting going on. There's a lot of rage baiting, engagement baiting on the timeline where folks are picking narratives to push so that they either look like the smartest person in the world or they're going to do what other people do and ignore it and hop on to the next grift, the next narrative. These aren't real feelings. You're trying to work yourself up. I don't know if it's Knicks PTSD. I don't know if it's you just not feeling this team because this team ain't your underdog, scrappy team that transformed over the course of a year. But the fact that y'all use your eyes, yes, the Knicks have genuine concerns, but the fact that you use your eyes and you're trying to qualify so many different scenarios with the fact that you think this team is going to lose in the first round, or even that it's not even going to be close, then why are you a fan of this team? Why are you suffering? Why are you putting yourself through it? Root for somebody else or just remove your rooting interest? Because right now, it don't seem like y'all are real. It seems like y'all trying to make money off of the internet by talking bad about the Knicks. And remember what we used to say about the people who did that before. You trying to get the same comedy routines off that national media was trying to get off 10 years, 15 years straight. Now you've become what you hate. And it's wild corny. It's excessively corny. And enough is enough.
Bro, we've said that for years. Like the same people that hate Stephen A act just like him.
Yeah, because they know it's a path to make money. But at the very least, you say what you want about guys like Stephen A. He got credentials. And at least we know what the angle is. At least we know the angle, right?
Yes.
We know that it's part of it is entertainment. And he's living and dying with the team, whatever the case may be. We know a lot of it is hype. But we know. To come across as genuinely feeling like this, that's whack, man. That's whack. And then when you challenge, it's like you're saying the most ridiculous thing in the world. Like, which one is it? Do you want guys to rest or do you want them to win every game? And Jason M just posted a super chat. Can't complain about minutes. Thank you so much, Jason. Can't complain about minutes and get mad when guys rest. So apparently when the guys rest and we know they're resting and we're sending the expendables up against the Detroit Pistons, it's still bad. It's still indicative of what they're going to do in the playoffs. But y'all wanted these guys to rest. The minutes police is now persecuting the resters. At some point, the police come for you. They're just wearing a different badge now. It's corny. It's wild excessive.
It's ridiculous.
And we see through it, man. We see through it. Give me I won't even say logical. Give me a pertinent reason why, after that game, Knicks fans should be worried about the playoffs. Give me something that matters, a significant reason why, after that game, knowing what we know, because context fucking matters. Knowing what we know, why should Knicks fans be concerned? Why should anybody be concerned?
Man, I thought we was from New York.
A lot of them ain't. I think a lot of them ain't. And
a lot of them are. A lot of them are.
Not be in New York no more either, but
a lot of them are. A lot of them live in the 5 boroughs, and they, look, man. See, here's what I'll tell you. Here's what I will tell to the Stanleys and everyone else, right? Here's what I'll say to you. If the Knicks played the Pistons in the Knicks were and the Pistons were actually no. Let's do it differently. Let's take the game on Tuesday night. Let's say the Knicks play the Celtics, and the Celtics decide, all right, they're gonna play Jason Tatum, they're gonna play Jaylen Brown, but they're gonna sit Derek White, they're gonna sit Kristaps Porzingis, they're gonna sit Al Horford, and they decide, you know what, Xavier Tillman, you're playing 39 minutes tonight, and whoever, right? And the Knicks play their full squad, and the Knicks win the game at home. The same motherfuckers who are complaining now that this is a wake-up call will be telling us that game don't matter because Boston didn't have all their guys. You motherfucker, the same people who poo-poo everything, who's always talking about 0-9 versus the top 3 teams, can't beat this team, can't beat that team. You would be like, no, chill out. It's like, there's no pleasing you assholes. There's no pleasing you. The only way you are happy is if the Knicks are winning the championship. And the funny thing is, because I'm older than a lot of y'all, I have seen the Knicks come close to the championship more than most of y'all. I saw my team be one shot away from the title, right? Listen, do I think that the Knicks the Pistons turned up the intensity and the Knicks didn't match it? Yes, I agree. You know why the Knicks didn't match it? Because they didn't need to. They were like yesterday was and you know how I know they didn't need to turn up the intensity? Because they sat 35% of their rotation last night. There are guys, like someone was like, yo, PJ Tucker, and we have to rely on him. If you see PJ Tucker on the court in a playoff game for the New York Knickerbockers this season, either something went terribly wrong or Tibbs ordered the code red. And I don't think Tibbs is ordering the code red.
Not in the playoffs.
Not in the playoffs.
Not in the playoffs. Like, Tibbs gonna go out like Gruden. Oh, who was it? What was his name? It started with an F, I think. The coach. The coach that called for the bounties? Was it that on the
Greg Williams.
Greg Williams, yeah.
Shout out to the Saints.
Imagine if Tibbs had bounties.
Like,
boy, that man, him and homeboy that was betting on the games, Porter, would be in the gulag, dog.
Like, do you know y'all gonna turn us into the We Believe Knicks? Because you remember when the Lakers in the bubble and everyone, and then Damian Lillard hit a couple logo threes. Everyone was like, oh, the Lakers might lose to the Trailblazers in the first round. Got them out the paint. Then it was, I forget who they played in the second round. Oh, the Lakers might lose. Got them out the paint. Oh, well, the Nuggets just came back from down 3-1 against the Clippers. Got them out the paint. And then you had Lakers fans running around calling themselves the We Believe Lakers. And you couldn't be mad at them because it's like, yo, you picked us to lose every round. It's funny. Someone tweeted, I forget who said it. Someone tweeted, it's like, yo, y'all hate ESPN, y'all hate TNT when they say anything about the Knicks. But when it's Fire Tibbs, they're truth tellers. You hate how Inside the NBA clowns us, but as soon as Shaq, who didn't even know who coached the fucking Pistons 2 weeks ago, says they're gonna win. Now see what they're saying about us? Like, grow some confidence in yourself and in your team. But I get it. You still haven't gone over 2021. I understand. It still bothers you to this day that we lost that series and you are not able to figure out how to properly manage your expectations or your emotions. So you go all the way you go super duper negative because that way they can't hurt you again. And to that, I will say this. A wise man once told me, when it comes to sports, if you get too high or you get too low, you ain't been in the game long enough. And a lot of y'all ain't been in the game long enough if you're acting like this because we got pushed around. Listen, did I like Dennis Schroeder pulling that Bush League shit? No, I didn't. But guess what? April 19th, April 20th, check ball. Because none of that, like, guess what? There's no fights in the playoffs, fam. There's no brawls. There's none of that. At the end of the day, it's I will figure out your weaknesses and I'll expose them. And again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you the Knicks are a perfect team. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the Knicks don't have flaws. We can go over all those flaws right now. We don't take enough threes. Cat's pick and roll defense is shaky. Mikal Bridges, whatever you want to say. Deuce McBride, dog, you got to finish better at the rim. You're our sixth man, right? Josh Hart, we've beat that horse dead multiple times. Yes, the Knicks have flaws. Shout out to Frank Barrett who posted a video on Twitter about how many times on a pick and pop, Cat is wide open and we don't make the pass. Like, the Knicks have flaws. We're the better basketball team. And I'm not afraid to say that. And if by some act of God, we lose in the first round to the Detroit Pistons, you know what I'm going to say? That sucks. And some of you are going to be like, ha, see, I told you. And I'm like, yes, you're right. Now what? Let's go to T-Square Social and watch the rest of the playoffs together. Because you don't get extra points in life because you are right.
It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. Here's the thing, man. You had touched on something that I thought was important when we talk about they haven't been in the game long enough. For a lot of the younger fans, you probably started watching around the mellow years, and then you had the lean years in between, and then the new rise. It's almost like Star Wars for y'all. Y'all started at Luke Skywalker and all of them, and you didn't. Now you're at the prequels. Right before we get to 7, 8, 9, it's kind of like that for y'all, and it's almost like y'all have caviar problems, where you expect what you've seen over the past 2 or 3 years to be the standard. Where this century they're starting to turn the corner. They have turned the corner, yes, but for a lot of that time, it wasn't the case. So as long as you've been watching, as long as Shawn and I have been watching, we've seen the ups and downs. So we understand when it's a time to panic, when it's a time to have significant concerns. I just don't understand how fans are picking last night's game to be the breaking point. What I think it is confirmation bias. You guys have already resigned yourself to the fact that if the Knicks face the Pistons, they are going to lose in round 1. So any type of evidence that might give you a sliver of a leg to stand on to say that you were correct, you latch on to and you highlight. You're highlighting a game in which Precious Achiuwa played almost 40 minutes. PJ Tucker, who played about 3 more minutes than I did in the NBA this season prior to this game, played 26 minutes. 26 minutes where they were running lineups that were actively minimizing their offense. It was just pickup ball at some point. And you know who Detroit reminds me of? The We Here Knicks.
Bingo.
If you really think about it, Detroit is in their We Here Knicks era. They have one superstar, all-star on their squad. They got a bunch of role players and journeymen that have played on multiple teams. A lot of folks that have been maligned. A lot of folks looking for a second chance. They got a new coach that's strong in his principles, that's looking to turn the franchise around. Who does that sound like? And while they may not get the almighty 4th seed, they're going to get a top 6 position. And then they go into round 1 with a lot of momentum, ostensibly, versus a team that they've won the season series against. And it seems as though they know how to play against the team. They play hard-nosed defense. They're energized. They bring a ferocity to the game. They bring that Detroit Pistons bad boy energy that they're channeling, or energy from a defensive-minded team from a bygone era that they're trying to resurrect and make their identity. And their fans who have been disillusioned for a while are now back. And the NBA is better that fan base is back in the building. I am not calling that arena Pizza Hut, whatever the sponsor is. I know Auburn Hills is gone. That's still the Palace at Auburn Hills. If the Detroit Pistons play at Auburn Hills, I don't care what anybody says. If we still call it Crypto Staples, that is Auburn Hills. I'm not calling it that. That's how much of the feeling that I believe should be restored with Detroit. I give them all the love. I give them all the respect. They've been one of the best stories in the league. Respecting their opponent doesn't mean you have to fear them, or you have to employ fake humility to diminish your own accolades. I could say I respect my opponent, but I think I'm better than them. I'm sure a lot of y'all think like that. So why not your team? Why not? If you had 2 all-NBA caliber players, if you had one of the best defenders in the game, one of the best all-around hustle players that every team would want on their team, one of the best 6 men on your team, why wouldn't you be confident? Yes, I understand systematically, or systemically, depending on how some people look at it, schematically, there are issues. Individually with the players, there are issues. Yep. People have issues with the coaching staff. There is criticism to be levied. But to let that criticism overshadow what we can see and what we know, you're just setting yourself up for unnecessary grief. Like, yo, Shawn, shout out to my guy, the Stratocaster, Alex Tartaros. That's my man's. He was on. I'm not gonna roast him. I'm not gonna. I know
okay,
that's my man.
Sound like
dear friend. I'm not gonna roast him. That's my guy. I meant to text you too, Alex, but he was saying what his concerns were after that game, and pretty much, are these guys going to level up their basketball IQ in order to handle business? Like, this isn't going to be an easy series, and he was way more measured than what we've been seeing on time, way more measured. But he had made an analogy to the Knicks and the Cavs 2 years ago, where he said the Cavs, people were saying that the Cavs had more talent. It was the whole referendum on the Donovan Mitchell trade. Knicks were being doubted, even though they had great players and a good scheme and all of that. And what happened? The Knicks gentlemen swept them. So that could easily happen to the Knicks as well in this situation. To that, I say, and mind you, that is a measured take, logical analogy to make where it can be a cautionary tale as to don't sleep on your opponent.
Yes.
Here's the difference, though. The combined starting 5 is super battle tested in the playoffs. There's at least 24 games of continuity from the last 2 years of the playoffs. Then you have Cat with from his last playoff run. You have OG, who's an NBA champion, right? You have Deuce, who's been around for a majority of this run, of this playoff run. Mitch, who's the longest tenured Knick. You have Campaign, Landry Shamet, they've been to the finals. PJ Tucker's an NBA champion. You have enough of a pedigree on this team that they've been here before, and they've done that. In regards to the Cavs-Knicks scenario, you also had a dude on the team who pretty much owned Donovan Mitchell in the playoffs when they were in the Western Conference, and it showed up again. You know what I'm saying? And I also think you didn't have the same level of talent gap that you would have in Detroit versus New York. There's a lot of ways in which it's not one-to-one, because there's way more that we know analytically, that we know with the eye test, and we know historically that if these guys show up, then this isn't even a concern. Now, if you say you don't know whether or not you think that, and oh yeah, by the way, Mikal Bridges, he also was on that that Sun squad that went to the finals, right? If your concern is you don't think they're going to show up, that's a totally different situation. But to compare the two situations, This is where I'm saying I do think, based on what they've shown you this season, there is a level of concern, but I do not think it's 1-1. I honestly don't think it's that close. I don't. I'm happy to be wrong, but I don't think it's that close.
Is there a world where this could happen? Sure. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. But I'll quote Fred Katz, who said, and he was referring to like trade scuttlebutt, trade rumors, what have you. And he said, I don't worry about things until they actually happen. Because you can worry yourself to death and about things that like could happen. And then like we are there's I just feel like there's just this lack of critical thinking, for a lack of a better phrase. I want to say critical thinking. That doesn't mean that you're not that people are stupid. It's more, it's like if you take time to think about this, like everyone's like, we should go play Cleveland because we beat them 2 years ago. I'm like, well, they're not the same team from 2 years ago. Like, they're not the same team. Like, and then you sit there and you think about it, like, okay, let's see now. They have Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham is great. He's gonna probably make All NBA. He should he's gonna be top 2 for most improved player, whatever. He's a beast. He's a problem. Cool. Asar Thompson shoots 23% from 3. Tim Hardaway Jr. He shoots very well from 3. Guess what? There's another side of the ball. Here we go. Same thing from Malik Beasley. Jalen Duren, great rebounder. Rim protector, like, and don't forget the immortal big time playoff performer, Long Island's own Tobias Harris. Starts for this team. Like you just can't maximize our flaws and minimize and ignore theirs. Like, if you looked at it and say, okay, they do these things well, they do these things poorly, the Knicks do these things well, the Knicks do these things poorly. Like, I remember someone saw, like, I remember someone saw someone on Twitter, was like, it was a few weeks ago, it was like, the Wizards just smacked the Pistons. I was like, they won by 4. I was watching the game. No one smacked anybody. But hyperbole is a hell of a drug. And see, speaking of critical thinking, here's a chat from B. More Corey, who says, watching Knicks crash over this game like we didn't just play 56-year-old PJ Tucker for almost 30 minutes has been wild to me. Folks, the Pistons haven't seen Mitch all year. We're fine. That's another thing. Like, all year, people are like, we need Mitch back. We need Mitch back. We need Mitch back. We play this team without Mitch. Like, and it's funny because it's ironic because Jalen Duren was the player the Knicks could have taken in that 2023 draft where they did all the moves to get 2022 draft when they pulled all those moves to get the cap space to get Brunson. And I remember, and you remember that summer in the first few weeks of the year, everyone was like, "Oh my God, we passed on Jalen Duren. We passed on Jalen Duren." And the question I asked every one of those people right now, the question I said to them then was, do you think he'll be better than Mitchell Robinson? And people said no, or they hemmed and they hawed, and they said, but you know what I'm saying? I was like, that was 2022. 3 years later, is Jalen Duren better than Mitchell Robinson? No. Now, Mitch is not going to start. And I hope that we can get more than 13 minutes a game about Mitch because, like, he's talking about, like, I got to play 9 minutes in a row. Like, Mitch, it's been a month. You should be in shape by now. But, you know, whatever. People are human. Just think critically. I understand it's easy. Crashing out is easy. Worrying is easy. You know, being concerned is easy. But think critically. And, like, again, if the problem with what I'm saying is because we could lose, honestly, grow a pair. Like, stop it. No one is right all the time. Nobody. Like, sometimes we get things wrong. Like, if I look at the evidence and evidence tells me one thing, yes, I could be wrong, but I could be right. Let's take Super Bowl 59. Can't pick against Mahomes. Can't pick against the Chiefs. They got the Magic. This, that, and third. And I said to myself, well, the Chiefs have the better head coach and the better quarterback, and the Eagles have the better everything else. Why would I bet on the Chiefs? Because of unknown forces? Because Taylor Swift? Because the NFL's rigging it for the Chiefs? Like I shouldn't say grow up here. I'll say this: grow up, be an adult, have an affair. No, don't do that. Actually,
You're hilarious.
That's a line from the J song. Cut it out. But just come on, man. Be adults. Be adults here. Like think critically. Take your time. Take the emotion out of it, and figure out and ask yourself, really, like, if you played that series 100 times, how many times did the Knicks win?
Since the All-Star break, the Pistons are 8th in defensive rating with the 111.4 rating. The Knicks are 11th, 112.1. So less than a point difference in defensive net rating. Offensive net rating, Pistons 117.2, Knicks are 112.3. So this post All-Star break, the Pistons have been finding ways to score, whatever have you, right? And this is just a little bit of the advanced metrics and whatnot, just post All-Star. But if you this is like their current form. But if you zoom out just over the course of the year, the difference between the Pistons and the Knicks defensively is about 1.2 points in favor of the Pistons. Offensively, it's 3 points in favor of the Knicks. If those numbers mean anything to you, then you know what I'm saying, so be it. I think it's just a way to say, like, they've been close to each other just in terms of their form post All-Star break. Even with all of that, this team, the Detroit Pistons, they haven't seen the Knicks at 100% full strength. And here's why. First off, what you said about critical thinking, Shawn, I would add the qualifier of good faith critical thinking. Because I feel like some of this isn't as critical to think about if you're arguing within good faith, or if you're actually trying to debate and have this discussion in good faith. I don't think that, sometimes if sense was common, everybody would have it.
Yes.
I understand that. What I'm saying is, some of this stuff, you could get into the weeds, get into the numbers, get into the schemes, whatever the case may be. Throw all of that abacus stuff out the window. I watched a team at full strength. And I'm saying that as Jaden Ivey broke his leg. He's out for the year. Jaden Ivey, unfortunately, isn't a factor in this, right? Mm-hmm. As they're currently constituted, the current as full of a team as they can have, right? I watched the Detroit Pistons need to turn up the intensity, use about 3 limit breaks, and go ballistic to have to defeat Precious Achiuwa, PJ Tucker, Landry Shamet, DeLon Wright, in the second half I'm talking about. In the second half, these guys campaign who were playing a majority of those minutes. I could break it down to you right now. Second half, right? Deuce played 20 minutes. Precious played 18. Cat played 18. Mikal played 16. Brunson played 14. So 7 each quarter, pretty much. Mm-hmm. PJ played 11 minutes. Shamet, Wright, and Campaign combined for 21 minutes. Meanwhile, Cade played almost 75% of the game. Schroeder played a lot. Malik Beasley, Isaiah Stewart, Tobias Harris. Like, they were running, they dead ass ran a playoff rotation in the second half. And they needed all of that to overcome a Knicks team down 3 starters. because they wanted to send a message, because they wanted to play like it was the playoffs, because they wanted to give their best impression. And I'm unmoved. I actually like it because playoff-wise, if they do see the Pistons, I know there's going to be some playoff energy. I think it was important for the Knicks to play in an atmosphere where they ain't going to call shit. Because if the Pistons are allowed to do some of the stuff I saw them do in this game and they've been doing, yeah, you're going to have to fight through it. You can't be bitching to the refs. You got to fight through it. So I liked it as a dress rehearsal. So for me, the difference between the two games, for the Pistons, it was showtime. And for the Knicks, it was a walkthrough. That was the energy that I felt. When the Pistons turned up the intensity, they said, okay, we're going to match your energy for a little bit just to show you what it is. And what happened? Didn't the Knicks end up leading by like 9 or double digits at one point before they started mounting their comeback? The minute the Knicks matched their energy? I don't know why y'all are legitimately upset. I shift gears. Hold on. Ray Floyd says, didn't the Pistons beat y'all 3 times this season? Yeah.
And
yeah. What's your fucking point?
First of all, if he's saying y'all, it sounds like you're not a Knicks fan.
No, he's not. He's here to troll probably. But like, what's your point? What's your point in that? Because we can analyze those games. Those 2 games in the Garden were definitely games that the Knicks let go of the rope. Those wins were earned. We're counting this game. Okay, cool. That one game in Detroit got annihilated. That first game in Detroit. So, okay.
The Knicks beat the Hawks 3 out of 4 times in 2021.
They did.
It's like to remind people that.
I'm not even a regular season doesn't matter type person.
Yeah. No.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not even that. Like, I do believe you practice how you play. All I'm saying is those wins, once again, ain't something for me to sit here and be like, yo, they had a poor showing. I don't know about this team. I don't know. End of the day, man, it's like, we gonna see. And I'm going to be interested to see the backtracking no matter who the Knicks face in the first round. Because, Shawn, the way it's looking right now, I have no clue what the hell the seeding is about to be in the Eastern Conference. Tonight, the Pacers play the Magic. The Pacers are basically sitting their starting 5. The Magic are resting guys. Donovan Mitchell, I believe, let's see. Mitchell and DeAndre Hunter are out. Garland is probable.
Ty Jerome is out. Don't know
who else is playing. I'd be shocked if Cat plays this game. I'd be shocked if Brunson plays this game. Brunson might play to get
Brunson's
the 15 out.
The Brunson's not playing.
So he's going to save the
back-to-back.
Brooklyn?
It's a back-to-back. Let's save it for Brooklyn.
Okay. I'd be shocked if Cat plays along as well. You might give OG another rest. Definitely Hart, because of his knee. Hart should get that rest too. So this is like the 5D chess of tanking and positioning right now going on in these final 2 games in the East. So I don't know what it is that's going to happen where the seeding is, because there can be a situation where the Knicks drop to 4 and the Pistons get the 5th seed. Or the Knicks get to 3 and we don't know who they're going to play until game 82, because they play 2 games against the Bucks to end the season. So there's still going to be some shuffling to go around. Shawn, what do you think about that?
I think the Pacers just said, we don't give a shit about the 3rd seed, because Ben Shepherd doubtful, Aaron Nesmith out, Miles Turner out, Nembhard out, Pascal Siakam out, Tyrese Halliburton out. They don't give a rat's ass about the 3rd seed either. So, as I said earlier, it is a calculated risk that the Knicks took, that they said, all right, we think that, because you said the Knicks have 2 chances to clinch a 3rd seed, and I would disagree. They have 4 chances, because it's either the Knicks have to win 1 of 2, or the Pacers have to win 1 or 2. And the Knicks and honestly, going into last night,
lose 1 or 2.
They have to lose 1. And honestly, they had to win going into last night, the Knicks had to win one, or the Pacers had to lose one, which means the front office said, all right, what are the odds that we're going to lose 3 in a row and they're going to win 3 in a row? We think we'll get one or they'll drop one. And Orlando is playing, and Orlando, which somehow won the Southeast Division. I don't understand how that happened. But
what?
Yes.
After all of that?
They won this. Well, that's because the Southeast Division is a 2-pack of ass. But they won the Southeast Division as a 7 seed, by the way, which is hilarious. Fire that division to the side. How the Hawks didn't win that division, I'll never know. Oh, I know why, because they're the Hawks.
Charlotte, Atlanta, Miami, Orlando. That's the 4.
And
right?
Washington.
And Washington. Oh, Southeast?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yes. So granted, I don't know what because I think actually Orlando, they're currently the 7. I don't know if they can drop to 8. I'll tell you right now, they could. No, they can't drop to 8. So listen, Orlando, I don't know what they're gonna play for, but I say that to say this. Like, look, I think the Knicks will be 3. I think they'll either win tonight. I can see them winning tonight. Or they'll beat the Nets on Sunday. Although I know the Nets are gonna be up for it because it's the Knicks, and it's like, oh, we gotta show them and whatever. Who cares? Speaking of Orlando, last year that was a team that was a young, up and coming, tough team that everyone was glazing. And I said, you know what that team reminds me of? The 2021 We Here Knicks. And you know what this year's Orlando team reminds me of? The 2022 Thumbs Down Knicks. Except they got to 40-40, and we were 37-45. Like, and next year there'll be some other young teams. Like I said, maybe Washington will get to 31 wins, and people start glazing them and say no one wants to play them. Like if I had a nickel for like, you don't want to play this team in the playoff series at some young team, young don't win in the playoffs, dog. They don't. We know that from firsthand in 2021. They don't. I'm not worried about this team. I'm not worried about the Pistons. I'm not saying they suck. I'm not saying they're whack. I'm just saying we're better. And we're going to have the best player in the series. In fact, we could have the 2 best players in the series. In fact, if you rank the top 6 players in this series, we have 5 of the top 6. As like, you're afraid of Isaiah Stewart? Shout out to him. I actually saw the ball in his hand yesterday for the first time in my life. But yeah, I'm not worried.
All right, let's get this super chat in from Parrish. Parrish, what's going on, bro? Good to see you. Thank you for the super chat. My concern is, can Tibbs consistently coach intensity out of Bridges and Cat? Cat isn't soft. He just gets aloof and goofy in the heat of battle, which to me is what's changed about him this season. So in this season. Yeah. I figured I got you, Paris. So your question, are you saying that Cat has become aloof and goofy in the heat of battle this season, and that's what's changed as opposed to previous seasons?
He said meant in this season. He put another chat. He said meant in this season. Like, basically saying that, like, it sounds like he's saying, and Paris, correct me if I'm wrong, that like, what's changed about him this season that he is he's aloof and goofy. And I think what you're gonna say, Jeff, is this is kind of who Karl-Anthony Towns is.
Yeah, but that's why I need the clarification, because I'm saying he's saying that is different than what he's been, or are you saying he was one way, that is who he is? Right? Because your answer might be in your question. I will also say, to give him some credit, these same questions arose about him last season. And in the playoffs, it was a different beast. So
he guarded Jokic, he guarded Durant, he did a good job. Like,
he wasn't making the mistake. And to be fair, that Dallas series, the whole Timberwolves didn't show up. As a squad, they didn't show up to that series. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Cat's gonna get the heat, but and Edwards and them will tell you, yeah, they cleaned our clock. We didn't really show up. So in the beginning of the season, Cat was out to prove he wasn't soft and was laser focused. I don't think that's changed. I think you know what I think changed, Shawn? I think he was doing less of the Cat silly stuff on the court than what's happened this season. I think he minimized the stupid fouls. He minimized some of the other stuff. And I don't think it's a coincidence that it corresponded with him and JB's pick and roll attempt destroying the league. Their pick and roll game destroying the league. So, yeah.
And it's also hard to keep that focus for 6 months. Like Cat this is who he is. He's been in the league 10 years. This is who he is. He's subpar on defense at times. He's, silly fouls, plays defense with his hands instead of his feet, whatever. So, Parrish, you've watched a lot of basketball. Like, how many times you've seen a player that's done that's been a certain way in the beginning of one season? It's like, oh my, he's different. Oh, he's doing it different. And then by Christmas, they're back to who they are, right? So, and honestly, when it comes to your original question, can Tibbs constantly coach intensity out of Bridges and Cat? As Benji always says, players have agency. You was who you was when you got here, to quote Jay-Z. Like, if you don't want, it's the playoffs. If you can't be intense in the playoffs, what am I going to tell you? It was like when people say, oh, PJ Tucker's going to get that dog out of Cat. Like, dog, that's not how life works. Like, this ain't jail. Like, they have to want it. And again, if you want to have a concern, it seems like this team doesn't want it enough. Whether it's the times they let go of the rope, the times they don't come out with the requisite energy, the times they're not serious, the times when the intensity goes up, they don't match it. Mm-hmm. Why is that the case? I don't know. There's certain players we had before that like to match the intensity. All right, but although one of them you couldn't wait to get out of town, not you, Parrish, but in general. Look, listen, they say in the playoffs, there's nowhere to hide. Everyone's faults are going to be on full display. Your ass is going to be on that Summer Jam screen, especially when you're in the playoffs, when you play in the largest city in America, which has the most scrutiny, and you are in the heaviest jersey in the league. So it's either time to put up or shut up. Period.
Facts. I'll give you an analogy based on personal life, right? Where I think this team is at. So when I was in college, I was a part of one of the best step teams in the history of this country. And I can say that anybody from my era, you tell me if I'm telling lies. Shout out to the A team. And shout out to one of my best friends, my bro, Alex. This dude used to frustrate me because he was like Josh Hart. He was like Josh Hart on our team in that he hated to practice. And with any type of coordinated performance, practice is important because anything can happen on that stage, and there is no 20-second timeout. There is nothing like that. Like, this is one of the best dudes I ever seen perform. But at times I would be like, yo, dog, you know, if we don't go hard in practice, this is going to go left and we're going to be wasting our time. And, sometimes when he had to, he did. And other times he loved fucking around and trolling me. That's his pastime and still his pastime to this day, trolling me. And it was what it was. Because when he performed, when the money was on the line, I had no concerns. He's bailed me out of situations where I've blanked out on stage and nobody would ever know that. and we had our own ways to hold each other down when performances was going on. But if you watch the whole totality of what we would do to get ready to perform, I wouldn't be shocked if somebody said, this dude probably gonna blow some steps on stage. I'm like, all right, you want to put your money up? That ain't gonna happen. Because there are certain times where folks are serious about stuff and they may act unserious, not because they don't care, because they know they're either pacing themselves or when it's time to go, I'm going to be ready. Now, if you blow it when it's time to go, then it's like, all right, now you have no more rope to do what you was doing. And that's what I think is happening with this Knicks team right now. I think a lot of them, just like a lot of the league, is in get us to the playoffs mode.
Yes.
We got our 50 wins. We're going to have home court at least in the first round of the playoffs. I'm done. I want to play what it matters. And it's happening at the final 5 games of the season. They also know they play for a coach who, if they ain't saying nothing about rest, he's playing them. Because he wants to practice the way he plays. He wants to play the regular season games the way he's going to play the playoff games, for better or for worse. Preparation is not going to be a reason why they lose. Lack of preparation will not be their Achilles heel. They're not going to deal with it. So that's how he's giving it up. That's what I think might be happening with a lot of this team. And like I said, it's been happening around the league. That's why you see a lot of guys resting now. Because what's the point? You've proved your point. You made it to the playoffs. You've guaranteed yourself a playoff spot. Now, if you are who you are, say you are, it shouldn't matter. So that's how they're going through right now. So it may be infuriating to a fan base, but this is the reality in sports. And former athletes will tell you that when it gets to the dog days and when it gets to those moments before the playoffs begin, it do be like that. Certain sports like football, you can't really do that. That's why you just rather sit everybody. But in basketball and baseball, you know what I mean? Like that's going to happen. So that's what I would say about the whole preparation thing and them being serious in certain places versus others.
Well said. Well said. We have some questions before we get out of here.
All right, let's load them up.
All right. So first from Wise Guy, thank you for your question. He says, yeah, I think Tibbs bringing Mitchell to starting 5. If so, who gets benched? I vote Hart. Tibbs is not bringing Mitchell to starting 5. I can guarantee you that right now. It's not happening. If he would, if you see Mitchell to start at 5, it's because Karl-Anthony Towns can't play. That's why. That's when you will see him. And if he can't play, then we're back to last year again. For all intents and purposes. So, thank you, Wise Guy. Next up, J Rose 712. You want to alternate questions? I'll read them all. He says, gonna watch from the beginning before y'all go. If don't get past the second round, who do you think we could potentially trade for during the offseason to bolster our bench? I've had this pipe dream of D'Angelo Russell coming off the bench on a minimum. Only because he's a CAA client and he could probably get him for the minimum. And he's like, the biggest thing we've talked about, like if you put Josh Hart to the bench for Deuce, now you're having Josh Hart and Mitch together. The spacing off the bench is crazy. I was like, well, you know what? Who could give you a punch off the bench is D'Angelo Russell. Other than that, I have no idea. I'd have to look at who's available. I don't even think it's going to be who's under contract? Shout out to Jason Meredith. He says it all the time. He's like, this team now has to win on the margins, and you got to get lucky with guys that you draft, guys that you develop, minimum guys. Like, you got to get lucky there. And I know I can hear the Kolek Hive and the Daddy Hive yelling and screaming, but like next year, those guys are gonna have to we're gonna need to see something from them. Because that's when you're in apron land and you're paying guys $50, $40, $50, $60 million a year. You need some guys in this era of the second apron. You need guys who are gonna come in and do the job on the cheap.
I agree 1,000%. I don't know who they're going to pick, but I don't have any worries because I didn't see Bridges and Cat coming. So I think when you see them signing the guys like PJ and DeLon Wright for the end of the bench, kind of like the flip that we did for Mikal, that the Knicks did for Mikal when they flipped Bogey and all those guys. Mm-hmm. There's probably some moves to be made. I would say if they don't get past the first round, I do expect some type of major change.
Yes.
I would hope that they would at least give them to next trade deadline to cook and see what they really have. But at some point, I do believe there was going to be a major shakeup if they don't get past the first round. They don't get past the second round. I think it's going to confirm what they know that they're lacking on the team, and they just need to go out and get it. That's as simple as that. I don't know if D'Angelo Russell is taking vet minimums, though. That's the one thing.
I think he might not have a choice.
You don't think he could get that from like a Charlotte or a Washington? You don't think he could get a 2-year, $10 million or something like that from Utah?
I don't think they would. He's not the vet that I would sign to a young team. So I don't think
he could be the human trade asset, the trade exception.
But in this, like I said, in this second apron world, like I don't like. Listen, Cam Payne was a backup point guard on the finals team, and he's here on the minimum. And he hit big shots last year. Like I'm telling you, man, there's a lot of guys out there that you're gonna be surprised you can get for cheap. So we'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Next up, you can read this one, Jeff.
Thank you.
This is from there we go.
BKG. How do we get Cat to improve his shot selection? He's shooting 4.5. Crazy. I thought that was a point. He's shooting 4 to 5 suboptimal 2-point shots per game with low expected values instead of shooting threes where his eval is really high. I think you have to have a conversation with Cat. Honestly. Next time I see Cat, I'm going to tell him what you said, BKG. I'm going to tell him what you said. Because you know what the issue is? I don't know whether it's Cat or whether it's the scheme that is telling Cat to continuously drive when he's at the top of the key instead of shooting that three when he has the sliver of daylight, because he comfortably takes 25-foot threes. But when he's at the line, it is cash. Like when he's at the 3-point line, like maybe like a half inch off, it's cash. I don't think he needs at 7 foot. I don't think he needs that much daylight to shoot. I think he needs to be encouraged on the pick and pop. They got to find him. He got to put it up. Sometimes he's not putting it up, or I feel like he's going through the progressions too quickly of what happens after he picks and pops. Like he might pop and be like, man, they ain't gonna pass this shit. Let me cut over here. Let me try to do this. Let me try to do that. Like how many times do you play pickup ball, especially you, Shawn, and you do all this cut and you do whatever, and you don't get the rock. You like, all right, well, I'm not gonna do that anymore because I know, or if you ask me to run a specific play, I'm going to the next play because I know that's not gonna be open for me. Like I'll be in my spot, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. All right, now I'm gonna try to open it up for somebody else. Like you can see he's the type that he would probably be a quarterback in the NFL because when he has the ball and he's waiting for dudes to make that cut so that he could do one of his passes, and he will stand there. I saw one play where he just stood there and was waiting, holding the ball out and was like, run the play. And then they finally ran the play. He passed it. They shot the layup. So I think part of it is the why. Why is he more focused on driving than shooting with contact? Is that him, or is that the scheme, or is that both? And two is his teammates having to find him as well. And they have to encourage that as a team.
I think it's partially schematic, and I think it's partial like Cat. Like to Parrish's point, a bit of the aloofness. Like there was a play last night where like it ran a pick and pop, and Cat is open at the top of the key, and he just wanders into like foul line extended. He gets the pass there. He does like a push shot. It goes in. And it's like, why didn't you just stay behind the line? But honestly, like I said, it's partially schematic because like this team is partially schematic, partially like personnel. Because like we had guys last year that would listen, if Dante had a silver space, it was going up. They,
every time.
There was a couple seasons where they told Julius, take more threes. This team doesn't like to take as many threes. And even though they're good at them, that's something like to your point. If they go out, if they lose to Boston in 6, and it's a close series, and Tibbs keeps his job, I'm curious to see what type of offense do they design an offense. And I know Tibbs is capable of it because he's designed an entire offense around Mitchell Robinson. If you don't think I'm telling the truth, look at the 2023 Knicks. They designed an entire offense around the strengths and weaknesses of Mitchell Robinson. They need to design an entire offense around the strengths and weaknesses of Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson, and how these other guys can get involved. Or else we're going to be having the same conversations next year. All right.
1,000%.
J Rose is another one. Do y'all think our bench is better than they're actually showing? Would our bench play better if we gave both Champ and Wright more minutes and watch Porty heals? I think our bench is better than we're showing it. I don't think Marshawn, Beauchamp, or DeLon. DeLon Wright has earned a Frank Ntilikina. We need to stop minutes. I think our bench needs to play more. Like, I think Landry Shamet should have closed that game last night. Like, I think he needs to play more. I think, Mitch wasn't available last night. I think the guys that are getting rotations should play more, except for, and I don't want to be mean to him, but like, listen, Precious, he's a limited player. Like, yes, him looking like Carmelo last night was crazy, but like, he's a limited player. Like, and you're playing 4-on-5 with him on offense because teams just ignore him. But other than that, I think there are guys on this team that deserve a little bit more and that could be maximized.
I agree. I agree with everything that Shawn says. I think that they weren't in a position. They're not in the position now to show that bench because the bench hasn't been playing. Well, the younger guys on the bench hasn't been playing, but the ones who have been playing, depending on the situation, should get more minutes. Like if Landry Shamet is going crazy in that stretch, I'm not pulling the plug. I at least give you another minute. Like, I hold Mikal at the scores table. Like, let me see if he's cooking or not.
Like Shawn Geddes always says, subs on auto. All right. I think that is the last question. Yeah, that's the last question. All right. Jeff, you can take us home.
Thank you so much for joining us. This was Casual Friday on the Knicks Film School YouTube channel. Subscribe if you are a Knicks fan, if you're an NBA fan. You love what you're hearing? There are so many more shows on this network, from X's and O's breakdowns of the Knicks, grade reports. There's a whole Patreon where you can get more of your Knicks fix on this channel and beyond. Jonathan Macri has a newsletter that he writes every day on the New York Knicks on Substack, subscription-based and free every Monday. Y'all can tap into as much quality basketball content as you want right here. Like this video if you love what you're hearing. And the best way you can support us is a subscription. If you indulge in more premium content, get with our Patreon and share this link and tell people about how you enjoy Knicks Film School and why they would too. You being our advocates is the way that we grow. And we've seen a lot of good boom over the course of the year. We love y'all for that, and we would love for it to continue. So definitely do that. Been a good Friday. Playoffs in a week. They need to get here because y'all are wilding out there. Y'all are completely wilding, and enough is enough. I need the playoffs here ASAP. But I'm glad to spend this time with y'all. No Casual Friday next week. Hopefully the week after that, we'll have a lot more interesting things to talk about and a lot less crashing out. Shawn, you got anything to say to people before we get out of here?
Thanks for everyone pulling up. Think critically. Be excellent to each other. Phil Porto, I see you in the chat. Shout out to you. And look, man, let's just get to next Friday. Saturday. Let's just get to next Saturday. I'm chilling.
And let's get there healthy. Yes. Let's get there healthy, please. That is the one thing I say, Shawn, that I'm encouraged about. The fact that we can have a Knicks team that will be 100% heading into the playoffs for the first time in 3 years.
Absolutely. Oh, one more thing.
What's up?
So tonight we're having a watch party at T-Square Social. You should pull up. Yes, but also before that, from 3 to 8 at Torches on 42nd Street between 5th and Madison Avenue, we will be in the building for the launch of Iman Shumpert's new cannabis brand, TSA approved. From 3 to 8, there'll be giveaways. I want some free product. So let's get that. Let's see what's up. Come meet a former Knick. Once a Knick, always a Knick. Again, that's from 3 to 8 at Torches NYC, which is across the street from T-Square Social. So we'll be there, and then across the street to watch the Westchester Knicks play. I don't know who Cleveland's G League affiliate is, but that's what it's gonna be like tonight.
The Great Lakes Cavs or something like that. The Ohio Valley Cavs or somebody like that. I had no clue either, but yeah, it is going
Cleveland
to be
Charge. Yes, The
The
Westchester
Charge.
Knicks and the Cleveland Charge tonight. Pull up. Buy
Bruh.
me a beer.
When I tell you it is going to be struggle hoops, the only people locked in are those who care about seeding and the gamblers.
Yes, sir.
Last bit of advice. This is a nasty week to be gambling. A very nasty week to be gambling.
There's some dudes who've never heard of before and you'll never hear from again that's going to put up 20. Make sure you take advantage, man. Take advantage.
Find those people and you might have a pretty good day. Thank you for locking in with us, y'all. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good rest of your week. Go Knicks.